Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John's reports for the 30th of September. Well, like we talked about, we had the rising red DOC. We were looking for this meeting point between the cyan and green, minus 521, minus 528. So still slightly ahead with the cyan. You got to get that crossover in order for a significant strength in the rally to continue. But we've got good power mo increase in the angle of our Azure line here, which is rising. So those are supportive of maintaining the levels where what we had was short-term buyer fade off that took place. And we kind of expected that reaching up to the 50% marker here because that's typically how that works. When you come back down, break the 50%, the resistance is back up to the 50%. And right now the 38% line right here at the 33.30 roughly was the, now the 38% was just a little bit shy of what the 50% was. That was at 42. So that's where you're seeing that resistance take place at that particular spot. As far as what we're seeing right now, we just have a little bit of softness post-debate. I haven't had a chance to see it, so I don't know how that turned out, but nothing too dramatic from the market at this particular point. Though some might think that a 30-point move already to the downside is significant, given what we saw from the upswing. It's not terribly significant. From an NQ standpoint, the NASDAQ has been much stronger. We're seeing a little bit of softness starting in today here, where potentially we have now the green moving slightly below. Of course, that's too early to suggest that along with the dip in the shakeout. But if we do see that rollover, that would be more significant. We would be looking for that 23% line. We'll have a better idea of that as the day moves along. And from a gold standpoint, it's going to be languishing is a rough word. Literally, we expected the dip to fill back in these positive extremes from back here. We talked about it a ways. Back when that happened in, what was it, July. And we were expecting it, so none of this is a shock with gold. Plus, it's going to have an impact if there's the market irregularities, only if there's a fear or inflationary concern you're going to get your spike. It's not going to happen when things are improving. The lack of stimulus passing really had a big impact on gold. And if things get resolved and post-election, depending on how it goes, I think you'll see that rally continue because there's no other alternative but to see a big change in economic policy because they're going to have to stimulate further depending on how long areas begin to stay closed. So from a oil situation, again, this is about the recovery and it's an indication that things are still not moving in the right direction as far as growth aspects. And it'll be interesting to see the post COVID world, once a vaccine, will there be a return to normal driving patterns, things like that, because that's really what is going to drive fuel consumption and support price. But we know the target's somewhere up in the 50 plus range, and they're having trouble keeping it in the 40s. From a 5K standpoint, so this is that Power Mo 2 cross with the DSC setup, incorporating the long and short algo, and what we adjusted with this was allowing for the fact that even where you might get a orange buy signal or that, if it's within a decaying long short algo construct, not going to give you a buy signal until you get the degree of basing. And once we get that over here, at this particular point, we ended up with a little bit of softness that came in between, and that it wasn't a DSC spread, it was just the steel coming below, so it wasn't enough to suggest that you would see a broad decline. And in fact, it turned around quite quickly there when the steel crossed back above, and that drove to the 100%, which is what your expectation is, because what we ended up with is declining 100% line, so you expect from the zero on the stabilization back to the 100%, in this case the 100%, started to decline, but still, needless to say, it was still quite a significant move. We never made it down to that 33.12 line, which we needed to retest from the previous day, and some positive extremes on that one. And then when we got some soft signaling, which was actually a fairly decent pullback. I mean, it went a little bit past 50%, and then turned around. And we were, of course, trading this one live for everyone on the Skype chat to view, which was fun. And then the turnaround long, and in this particular case, that took us up to, again, that same 3358 resistance, which was literally where we had the resistance from before. So literally they just matched that. Again, they're doing that in the post market where the liquidity is light, and they love to do that. And that was all positive extreme. So even from beginning right here around the 28 range, and that's just been a cascade lower. So when we break below some of these 100% lines, and then what you usually expect is after you get your full decline, you get a return back up to them. In this case, though, we'll hit 33.12 before we hit the what was the zero line right back here at 33.16, and that'll provide some I don't want to say blockage, but at least it'll be a point of consolidation. If they're able to blow past it, then I would expect 33, 35 really quick, but we're not seeing that set up at this particular point. It's possible that it will develop, but with that shakeout below the negative 13 as it was, a little bit tougher for it to make its complete turnaround and support it. Usually what you'll get is this pop up, it'll come back a little bit, and then again, you get that basing effect. So that's what we look for. So exciting to be able to get that out, because again, it's beautiful from a short standpoint, because in this particular case, right around that 33, 35, coming all the way down, and of course in this case it flipped to the green right here at 33.05. It's pretty nice 30-point transitional move in between all the other ones that we were showing. I was showing for demonstration purposes the one contract trades, so that it would reflect how using this kind of setup can be effective. And you don't have to take every single move. You literally can look for the ones that get into your most oversold, and then take those. It's always a little tougher when you're playing in the middle ranges, but nonetheless, showing quite effective. As always, though, I will be sending out indicators and update any relevant charts as they are warranted. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.